The coffee shop was in Poway, California. It was called Java Joe's. I was in a band called the Rug Burns. And I went in there. It was midnight. I was tired and I walked into Java Joe's in my pajamas. And this blonde girl was behind the counter. And she said to me, "Hi, my name's Jewel." And I go, "Jewel, just one name?" And she goes, "Yeah." And she goes, "I'm living in my Volkswagen van in the parking lot. And I'm a barista. And I just want to say I really like your music." And I said, "Well, thank you." And then she said, "I get off work in about a half hour. Do you want to go out to my van and make stained glass art?" And I was like, "All right." I mean, if she asks you to make stained glass art, you have to. And we went out to her van and we really made stained glass art. Like, I know that sounded like it was a euphemism, but we just made stained glass art. It was awesome. It was as wholesome as that show that we used to watch where they'd say, "Good night, John Boy." And she gave me some chamomile tea. And then we started surfing together, and we fell in love, and we would go camping out in the desert. And one day she said, "Let's go down to Mexico." Y me gusta México mucho, mi favorito país en todo el mundo. And so I was like, let's go down there and find some olas grandes, big waves. So we go down to Mexico. And I'm driving down and I stopped at a place to ask directions. I said, "Donde está la Playa Bonita?" Because we kept going south. Man, we were on our way to Cabo San Lucas. But instead we just made it all the way to a place called Bahia de San Luis Gonzaga, which is on the Gulf of California side. And we got there and there was a sign on this dirt road and it said, "Keep out, danger." And it was where they flew in drugs. And it was a dirt airstrip. Well, I kept driving even though it said "keep out." I was in an Isuzu Trooper, I think. Remember those? It was the 90s. So I'm driving down, and there's this old motel there in Bahia de San Luis Gonzaga. And nobody was behind the front desk. And I rang the bell and some bats flew out. Nobody ever woke up. So we figured if nobody wakes up, we could just break into one of the rooms and we'll fall asleep on this king-size bed with beautiful Mexican blankets. And so we did. And the next morning we got up and Jewel looked out the window and she goes, "Oh my God, this place is beautiful." This was before we had iPhones and everything, Google Maps. So she's looking at it and she goes, "Let's go out. Let's see if we can go whale watching." And I go, "We don't have a boat. We can't go whale watching." But Jewel was wearing a yellow bikini and she looked hot. And I was wearing board shorts, no shirt, and I did not look hot. So she's sitting on the beach, and in the distance came 4 Mexican federales. And they slowly sauntered up to us. And you could see the heat rising up off of the sand as they sauntered up to us. And it was like one of those movies Clint Eastwood was in by Sergio Leone with the soundtrack by Ennio Morricone. And as the cops, the federales came up, it was like, "Woo-wee-wee-woo." And the head police officer goes to me, "Would you guys like to go whale watching?" I'm telling you, that's how stuff happens in my life. I can't make this up. It's true. So I said, "All right." So we go out on the boat, ostensibly to go whale watching, but it was more so they could go boob watching with her. So we're on the boat, and I asked the cops, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "We're looking for drug smugglers." And I go, "Es peligro?" He goes, "Sí, es muy peligro." And he says, "We might not have time to take you back to shore. Would you guys put on these bulletproof vests?" So we put on the vests. And then all of a sudden he gets a call on his radio. And I could hear it talking. "Órale, nosotros personas acá, en la isla, por el norte. Arriba, arriba, arriba." So I go, "Are you gonna go catch the drug smugglers?" And he goes, "Yes. Would you like an AK-47? And Jewel goes, "No, I believe in angels." But I was listening to a lot of Snoop Dogg at the time. So I go, hell yeah, Drake, give me an AK. So the boat goes up to the island. You can see these drug smugglers running. And they caught the slowest one. Why don't drug smugglers get thigh master or chair master or do some cardio? This guy was so slow, and he narked on all the other dudes and told us where all the weed was. And there was tons of weed on this shipwrecked boat. So the cops made me carry it. I had never seen pot before that day because I was Catholic. But it comes in these things called kilos. So we bring it all back to the boat, and they have all these guys handcuffed, and the guys are looking at me like I stole their weed. So I look at the dude and I go, dude, I'm just down here with Jewel. We're gonna go write songs. And he goes, ¿Quién es Jewel? And I go, Hoya, aquí. And then he goes, ah. And he goes, what's your name? And I go, Esteban. And I go, what's your name? And he goes, they call me El Chapo. But it didn't mean anything to me back then. But I have a flytrap memory. So the cops put all the weed on the boat, and we get back to the shore. And then we say, we're going to get out of here. And the lead cop goes, Esteban, ven aquí, which means Steve, come here. And I go, what? And he goes, this is the largest drug bust we've had in years. And I go, what are you going to do? He says, we're going to have a party. And then he says to me, take some. And I go, of the pot? And he goes, yeah, take some. And then Jewel digs her fingernails into my arm and goes, you better not take any. You'll end up in jail. It'll be like that movie, Midnight Express. And I look at Jewel and I go, Jewel, a man with a badge in Mexico is telling me to take a kilo of weed. It's like the Pope is telling me to. So then Jewel says to me, you got a point. So I try to take less than an ounce, and he goes, take the whole kilo. So I take it, and then he says, now let's take a picture. So these pictures are on the internet. If you type in Jewel drug bust photos, you will see us. And they got in High Times magazine, and my parents were so proud. So we're walking down the beach, and Jewel says to me, you got to give that kilo away to the first person you see. We can't go across the border with it. So there was a woman who was like 80 años, 80 years old, and she's slowly, laconically stirring a pot of spaghetti sauce. Next to it is a chalkboard, and it says, welcome Mormon youth group from Salt Lake City. So I said to her, ¿Quieres marihuana? And she goes, sí, por mi glaucoma. And she opens up the whole kilo and pours it into the spaghetti feed. I'm not lying. This guy's showing him the pictures. So she stirs it in there, and I say to her, whoa, this is going to be some sort of Mormon youth group here. So I go to sleep that night. I crawl in bed next to Jewel. And all of a sudden at midnight, I wake up, and there's all these Mormon youth group people playing naked frisbee. Except the guys kept their ties on. So when I woke up in the morning, one of the lead Mormon missionary guys was asleep, and the tide was coming in. And I woke him up, and he was asleep next to a goat, and the goat also must have ate some of the spaghetti weed. I woke up the goat, and then the lead Mormon missionary guy stuck his head up, and he looked at me, and his hair was perfect, just like in that song by Warren Zevon, Werewolves of London. And he goes, you saved my life. And I go, dude, no problem. I'm going to be playing this weekend a show in San Diego with my band, the Rugburns, at the Casbah. You should come see us play. He goes, I might do that. He goes, I just want you to know I owe you a favor. And I go, no worries. I go, my name's Steve Poltz. And he writes it down, Steve Poltz. And I go, what's your name? And this is back in the early 90s. And he goes, Mitt Romney. And now this didn't mean anything to me back then, right? So I go back and I go, I just met the nicest guy who says he owes me a favor. So we get back to America, and we had written this song. And I didn't know how popular it was going to become. It was like having the winning lottery ticket, and it got written on a drug bust in Mexico. I hear the clock, 6 a.m. I feel so far from where I've been. I got my eggs, I got my pancakes too. Got my maple syrup, everything with you. I break the yolks, make a smiley face. I kinda like it in my brand new place. I wipe the spots off of the mirror, don't leave the keys in the door. I never put wet towels on the floor anymore, 'cause dreams last for so long, even after you're gone. And I know that you love me, and soon I know you will see you were meant for me, and I was meant for Mike and Nikki. It was at this point in the song when Jewel said to me, "Should we write a bridge?" And I said, "Let's go to the A minor 7. I go about my business and I'm doing fine. Besides, what would you say if I had you on the line? Same old story, not much to say. Hearts are broken every day. Oh yeah." So we recorded this record. We got to live at Neil Young's ranch and record it, and the Stray Gators were the band, and I got to be the guitarist. And man, this song sold 15 million records. I didn't even really have an address yet. So the checks were going to my mom and dad's house, and they were so big. This is how much faith my dad had in me. He called me up and he goes, "There must be a mistake. I'll put it in my bank account." Then I'll go out to Palm Springs to visit them, and they would have a new pool built and a new patio. I didn't care. It didn't mean anything. I just wanted to see them smile. Just like I'm seeing Mike and Nikki smile right now. Because right now, if I take a mental snapshot of you two, I see you surrounded by an aura of love. And that's a beautiful thing, because we're just all alive right now at this one little moment. This is what we have. And man, we just started touring around the country everywhere. We played Woodstock 99, man. I was the dude in the video with Jewel not wearing a shirt. Why do they always have me without a shirt? I do not look good without a shirt. But they said, take off your shirt and go like this to Jewel in the video. So I would go to San Diego Chargers games. Now they're the LA Chargers, but back then they were San Diego Chargers. And people would see me and they go, "That's the dude from the Jewel video." It was crazy. So one thing led to another. We played Woodstock 99. And then sometimes I'd go out and people would be playing this song on the street for passing change. And rather than put $1 in their guitar case, I'd take 50 cents out. My cheeks hurt. So anyways, I walk into this bar and this girl was singing "You Were Meant for Me," and there was like 300 people in there. And I was kind of buzzed. I may or may not have partaken in some of that weed that I didn't give all the way back to that one woman. I may have kept some of it. I still have some left. So I went into this bar and this girl was singing "You Were Meant for Me," and she was nailing it. And you guys, she got to the chorus and it was so beautiful because she goes like this. Dreams last so long, even after you're gone. And I know that you love me, and soon I know you will see. But this is where she blew it. She goes, you were made for me, and I was made for you. And I was in the back of the barn, I didn't know what to do, and I wanted to correct her. So I go like this. Meant! And then she goes, what? And I go, you were meant for me. And then she goes, no, it's not, it's you were made for me. And then I go, I'm pretty sure. And then the whole audience looks at me and they go, she's right, it's you were made for me. And I go, no, she's not, I wrote it. And then they go, bullshit. And then the bouncer comes up and he goes, sir, you're gonna have to leave, you're disturbing the show. And they escorted me out. This is back in 1999. And I said, I'll probably see you idiots in 20 years storming the Capitol. I brush my teeth, I put the cap back on. I know you hate it when I leave the light on. I pick a book up and I turn the sheets down. I take a drink and a good look around. I put on my PJs and I hop into bed. I'm half alive but I feel mostly dead. I tell myself that I'll be alright. I shouldn't think anymore tonight, 'cause dreams last for so long, even after you're gone. Let me hear you guys. I know you love me. I know that you love me. Soon I know you will see. Soon I know you will see. Here you go. You were... Come on! You dicks! You were made, I mean meant! And I was meant for you.